I am going to spend the next 15 minutes or so talking about 316. So the first thing I want to talk about when it comes to a 316 is finding the target market. I think the traditional target market has always been business owners that are wearing a lot of hats. I think we run into them quite a bit. The people that are covering multiple tasks at any employer, and one of them happens to be the 401k plan. That's your traditional most common scenario where things can fall through the crack, or we find plan sponsors that really want to offload a lot of the responsibilities that come with the 401k plan. But more and more, we're finding numbers 2 and 3. And I wrote for number 2, I wrote understaffed, but really that sort of encompasses any employer that has a lot going on. Sometimes they may feel understaffed, but really, it's any employer that, the day-to-day functions can be overwhelming, especially, in today's marketplace. And having a resource available to offload some of the responsibilities that may be problematic or just burdensome that come with the 401k plan is a great option. And the last, I think, encompasses more and more employers every day, and that is those that have remote employees. One of the unintended challenges that came along with having remote employees is when you're managing any plan, having them never come to the office or having them always be remote can put a distance and some communication issues between you and the employees, or the plan sponsor and the employees, where maybe you'd like to just not deal with that anymore. It's created some challenges, and there's better solutions out there. Especially larger plans. A lot of traditionally 316, we saw kind of on the mid to small end of the 401k market. But more and more, I would say at least once a month, I'm getting a plan that has 1,000 or 2,000 employees that are looking for 316 services. Everyone's remote. It's become more and more challenging. And because all of their HR is already remote, why not have the 401k services and administration be remote with Definiti? It seems to be a nice synergy and dovetail to what's already sort of happening in the workplace. So now that we've identified the target, let's position the cost, right? I would say 95% or more of our 316 costs fall between $2,000 and $4,000. That's kind of where we see the bulk of our pricing. Now, if you take that and sort of reverse engineer it in terms of hours, right? You have a typical 40-hour-a-week employee, 50 weeks of work equals 2,000 hours. So how I like to approach it is say, for $1, maybe $2 an hour, you get a remote HR person. And who is that person? What do you get? You get an expert with decades of experience. You get a fully licensed and insured professional with, again, years of experience in the 401k market to be accountable and capable and have the authority to complete and sign off on and execute all of the transactional business and or administrative needs that come along with the 401k plan. It's nice to break it down into that sort of realm so that they can understand, for me to hire another person, it's going to cost me $40,000 or $60,000 or $80,000. Well, for $1 a day, for $1 an hour rather, you can offload a part of that may be causing some drag on the HR functions or just the overall functions of the business when it comes to the 401k plan. There is now a way to offload that in a way that can really provide some relief and bandwidth to employers. Oh, I forgot the bottom here. I put in these green bars. We have a marketing piece that goes along with each of these. And I'm going to go back one slide just so you can see, and I'll go back. So in the target market, we have a piece called fiduciary checklist. If you were going into a meeting and you think there might be a reason, we should bring that checklist along, and it will allow you to go through the different areas, possible pain points with the employer, and identify, hey, we can offer some relief here. But it's a nice visual that will put it together. And again, getting back to our current slide here, what's the benefit piece? We have a piece that will talk about all of these things, the cost and the benefit and what the actual marketplace is seeing. and how adding 316 can really be a cost-effective but super beneficial way to continue to administer the 401k plan. And I'm just going to move on from there. All right. So we want to educate the client what it covers. Well, I'm going to speak specifically about our 316 because this is where I work. One thing that it covers is payroll submissions. Unlike a lot of our competitors or other 316s you'll see out there, not only are we offering a full scope 316, but payroll submissions are included. And it doesn't matter if they're with a big provider or a local, payroll office. We will collect and submit those payroll offerings at no additional charge beyond what we're charging for 316. So it's a great value add, and it's an easy way to say, even if there's no other transactions that happen in the plan, you're getting your payroll part done by a real professional that's watching over your shoulder and monitoring everything that's going into the plan. The second is all notices, right? So you're going to have, any number of notices throughout the year because you have 402, 408, SBD, safe harbor, enrollment. But also, if there's an unscheduled notice that you want us to send out, let's say you're acquiring a business or you're going to have a short plan year or whatever. Just because we're doing all the normal ones doesn't mean that we can't add on anything. It's fully customizable in terms of that. The third rather, is plan accounting. I run into some clients that have some participants that say, I don't know that this money went in there. I don't know, I thought I was supposed to get profit sharing and I didn't see anything. It can be a labor-intensive effort for a plan sponsor to have to go through and do some type of forensic accounting on the plan. It would be great in most cases if they could offload that to somebody who knows all about plans and can easily find those things, or just not have to do it. Some businesses have some complex plan designs, and they can have a lot of questions. To be able to just send those questions somewhere else is what we're offering. The next one is plan transactions. This is the big one, right? This is your loans, distributions, enrollments, and terminations. Now, they all matter, but one of the nice things we do is that we are able to sign, execute, and make sure the check is cut. And where I find this really most impactful is sometimes during transactions that involve a separation from service. The plan sponsor does not want to deal with a lot of those rollouts or distributions. It's a great way to say, we're no longer working with you. If you have any issues with the plan, just call Definiti. They will issue everything. They have the authority to sign off and send it to you. So if you terminate an employee, you won't have to talk to them again about the 401k balance. Compliance and document services. So I want to, obviously we're going to monitor the plan document, consult with you over any changes to the plan document. But one of the big ones too is, especially again, in our larger plans, sometimes those are already bundled at a record keeper. And sometimes that's working well. And we don't want to upset the olive cart there. We can bolt on our 316 to a bundled plan, which a lot of our competitors can't do. And we do it very well. And we do it in a very seamless way where we're working with record keepers to, even though they may control the document and even though we may be working in tandem with we're able to keep them accountable and able to produce those results for the plan sponsor. Again, I think the plan sponsor really just wants to be able to offload these responsibilities to somebody that they can trust. And that's where we fit in. We may not be actually changing the document in those scenarios, but we ensure that it's done timely and correctly. So regardless of who's doing it, having that watchdog there is really, I think, what plan sponsors are looking for. And the flexibility to work on a bundled plan is one that we're finding, especially on our larger plans, can be a real meaningful service. The next one, all filings, signed and submitted, right? So obviously the 5500 is the big one, but if you have an extension or any other filings that need to be done, again, we're not sending it back to you to execute, right? Once we're done, we take it over the goal line. So once you pass it to us, we'll carry it forward. And the last one, I think, is the one that's probably most undervalued, right? It's the monitoring and the reminding. You can set the 401k on a course, especially the first segment today was Secure 2.0, where there's a lot of changes that are going to be happening with plans, especially in territories where, we have state mandated plans and state mandated changes. it's already kind of a foreign language to a lot of people, and now you have to execute this on a timely manner. And life sort of continues, right? You're operating in your business as you normally would. So we're there to just be in the background and make sure that it actually gets done. The deadline's coming up. We need to get this done. What's your decision? What do you want to do? So on and so forth. But also consult, right? What do we do about this? Or how do we handle this? Or we're going to make these changes. What's the impact of that? What financial impacts could that have to our plan? So not only are we going to make sure that things are compliant and remind you to make sure things get executed, but also consult in terms of, obviously it's a fluid environment where things can change. And we'll be there to make sure that not only are things getting done in the most positive way as it affects the plan, but that they're being done in a timely way that keeps everything on course. Everybody wants that trusted professional in the background to make sure that we stay on the rails. This is really what that service is able to accomplish.